Alright, welcome to demonstration of Odoo as a solution for air compressors. I'm going to start off just covering a bit of look and feel, and we'll just jump into sales as an example. This is a fairly typical view for Odoo with a list view. You can see I can click on items within the list view to get a form view of a related record. I also have a number of icons up here which enable me to view this data in different ways, including, if you're familiar with the concept of Excel pivots, this will be quite familiar. So I can come down here, do it by customer, and across the top do it say by creation date, and you can quite quickly build up those. You can build up graphical reports as well, and this little icon here identifies activities. So back on this screen here for this record here, I could click and schedule a new activity, and something I need to do, I need to call someone who's going to do it. Bill's going to do it. This is a completely multi widget here, so I can add in links, I can add in pictures, upload images, all sorts of stuff in here, put dotted list, etc., schedule that, and you can see here now I've got a next activity. So in Odoo everything is done largely at a record basis, so you can see this record here, all the information that originally happened around. I can go through here, I can log notes against a record. Again, I can expand that out to go through attach files, etc. I can go through and attach documents onto any record in the system. So if I just do that, open that up, and there's an attachment there. I can send messages directly from the record itself off to anyone in the system, or multiple people. So Odoo's really strong about giving you a way to track all the events around a particular transaction, and you'll find that same functionality exists right across the system. I have search bars across all of these, so if I want to look for customer 1 orders, I can search a customer and filter immediately. I can add another filter if I want, but also I can come down, I've got some standard filters here, but I can look at any field that's on the table or data model that this view is looking at, and say I want the contact contains Kevin, for example, and none in there, so that's all fine. So, and I can also do group by, so I can group by salesperson, and these ones are obviously very simple ones that are set up by day, but also I can go through and add custom group bys, so where I could say, okay, I want to group by contact person, and haven't got everything set up, so that's why there. You'll see also dots up here which enable me to show and hide extra columns of information available again to show on the particular transaction, so they'll vary depending on what model I'm dealing with. So that's a very quick look and feel. Every screen operates the same way, so that's sales. You'll see in purchasing looks exactly the same. Operations from an inventory point of view, if I come in and I look at delivery orders, again you're going to see the same. So it's very, very consistent in terms of what's how users interact with the system, which makes training obviously a lot more simple to do. Alright, let's start with sales. So we're just going to jump in very quickly, have a look at a product, and I've set some products here, so we'll grab part 2. So I'm just going to click edit just so that it makes it a bit more obvious. Anything with a bold underline is a required field, so I can have products that are consumables, i.e. products that I don't care whether I've got stock or not. The system's going to assume that I've got stock. Used a lot in manufacturing. Storable products are the things that are going to be stored in my warehouse that I want to track incoming and outgoing, and service for things like labour, freight and stuff like that. Product categories, so I have a user-defined product category structure, and that can be as deep as you want it to be, so you can have categories, subcategories, etc. Internal references, just free format if you want to use codes, same with barcodes. This is my list price, which in the absence of any other price rules will be used, but there's also a full price list system that determines at a customer default level what pricing should apply. This cost is, depending on your setup, either updated when you receipt goods, or if it's standard cost, then when you go through and change it as a result of changing your standard cost. Units of measure, so I can store products in any unit of measure that you want to imagine, and this is all configurable to add new units in if you wish. Some sales information, so basically, how am I doing my invoicing, and a couple of things like that. Purchasing, who's my default supplier and what's my price. I can have multiple suppliers, and that's used for reordering rules, which we'll talk about in a minute. Inventory, am I going to buy or make it? A few other things, sort of serial number tracking or lot tracking. Some accounting stuff, typically that's done at the category level. And then if you want to, you can add where in the warehouse this product is located. This is a simple bin location system versus doing it stock by bin location. So basically here you can see information about what's my on hand. This will show me a little graphical view of my forecasted here, and it's available to come through by warehouse. Obviously once I start having purchase orders outstanding, you'll see a bit more information there. Product moves are just showing me transactions that have happened on this product, and you can see for every move it tells you where has it come from and where has it gone to. So Odoo always tells you both the from and the to location, and it creates these special locations like customers and vendors, so that stuff coming into stock and going out of stock to customers, you know exactly what has happened. And then this is just various other bits of information. These smart buttons are available on a lot of forms, and just give you a very quick way to find information. And again, you can see over here the information about being able to schedule activities, log notes, etc. So exactly the same as we saw earlier on that sale order document. Alright, let's jump in and we'll create an order, and I'll grab a customer here. And this is going to be a customer in Auckland, so typically we would supply this out of Auckland. I can use a quotation template if I want to populate this, so that's just pulling it in from a quotation template, and you can have as many of those templates as you want. I haven't set it up, but payment terms would default in from the customer, as does this price list, but you can change and add extra price lists. I haven't set that up. You also have the ability, instead of shipping to the normal delivery address, you can put in an alternate delivery address, or you can, if this person is set up with multiple delivery addresses, you can set that up as well. You also have down here warehouse, so you might say, actually yes, I'm going to take this one out of Auckland, but these ones aren't available in Auckland, so I want them to come out of head office. And you can see there 490 are available in a head office. So if I save this at this point here, it stays as a quotation. I can go through edit, I can add an extra line in here, do anything that I want to do, right up to the time I confirm it. So at this stage it hasn't committed the stock. It's at the point that I confirm it that the stock is committed, and you'll see now it has created two pickings for each warehouse. So it's got one for the one unit that's coming out of Auckland, and then it's got the one unit coming out of head office. So each warehouse then has its own picking to do. If I come through into the inventory system, which is what your warehouse guys would be using, and here's my order here for the picking, and these guys would print a pick list and go away, do the picking, and then because this is all available and I know it's already reserved it because the system will do that for me, I can just click validate and apply, and what's going to go away, it's going to go away automatically and create a draft invoice for me. And if I come back here to number 13 and do exactly the same process, and again I get a draft invoice that's come through. So my whole sale order to invoicing process, very simple, and that invoicing stuff can all be automated or not, depending on how we want to set stuff up. The other thing I didn't show you on the sales, if I look in here, is you're going to see that I have a salesperson and a sales team, and that's because on this customer I have defined who the salesperson is and who the sales team is. And if I look at the sales team, I have a team leader and then I have one or more members of that team. So what does that mean? Well, it means that when I want to do some sales analysis, it doesn't matter what warehouse the product has been shipped from. All you're looking at is what's my analysis by sales team. So I can come down here by salesperson, or I might want to go by sales team and then by salesperson. So I can do it like that. Or I could come in, I could say, okay, I'll do salesperson across here and do sales team across the top. So very quickly you can slice and dice and do whatever you want. What measures do I want? Don't care about order count. I don't care about the including tax, and I don't care about that count, so I just want the total. And then if I want, I can go through and save that. And so now I can use that when I come back in. I can share with others. I can use stuff by default. So a lot of flexibility. I can add it to my dashboard so that I can have one place where I can see all sorts of different analytics around sales. So that's a very quick understanding of the normal sales and sales order process. I'll talk a bit now about field service. So field service, let's start with the asset that we're talking about. So if I create a new asset, these categories are optional, so you can see all of these lines are optional. You don't have to set them up. It's just a way if you want to be able to do analysis around that. Typically an asset, you would link that to a customer, and within that customer you would then have a location within that customer that it relates to. Analytic account would be if you wanted to start recording your revenue and costs right down to an equipment level, being able to analyze that. I'm just going to leave that out for the moment. Where am I going to source a product for this operation, which in this case should be Auckland? And then down, do I have scheduled service? So I'm going to start today and I'm going to make that 20/04/2025. How often do I need to schedule? Okay, so I want to do it every 3 months. So you can see day, week, month, year, whatever you want to do. And then I can define what sort of service template I'm going to use. I have the option at times to come in and pause it. Not fully developed yet, but certainly a requirement for you guys is to be able to do complex service rules where you, at some point, you would be able to say, okay, when it gets up to 2,000 hours, I need to do a 2,000 hour service template, but there's some work to do in discussion with your organization to get that working 100%, but you can see how it would work. So basically that's now going to create my asset, and then what happens is every night there is a scheduled job which runs, which goes away and it creates tasks for each of the assets. So you can see here scheduled out until the 3rd of May. If I've set a person to normally do that service, they will default into it. So if I look at this one here, I can see that it's assigned to John. And all the information around it, what asset it is. You can see also against this asset now, I can set up by default certain actions that need to be done, either required or not required, and John can record his time in here, and I'll just work through that in a little bit. So all of that stuff and how far in advance you want to go is configurable by you. So you just say, I want to be able to schedule all my schedule server stuff 2 weeks in advance, 3 weeks in advance. And the advantage of that is if I'm doing a schedule job which has products on it, you can see here that this product schedule service has various products. That means that that's going to get committed out of your stock, so that you then know, do I have enough stock on hand? Do I need to replenish my stock? So it's very useful from an inventory management point of view, so that you can do that in advance and give yourself the opportunity to do replenishment. That's kind of from that view. If I'm looking from a planning point of view, I can come in here and I can see here's all my people who have got jobs to do. I've got a view. I can come in by day, I can come in by week, month, year, etc. I can scroll forward a week at a time, and so you have a really nice way. If I need to, I can drag and drop stuff and move it around. I can decide, actually, that's not going to get done by Todd, it's going to get done by Sally. So very simple to play around with things. I can jump in, open up, and do whatever I want to do to be able to change information that's relating to that. I can also see for Todd, what capacity they have, so that if an ad hoc job comes in, I can see, oh well, okay, Todd's got time to do it on Tuesday, so that's fine. Let's just jump in as if I was a user going through and doing the task, and I'll grab this one here. You can see that one's actually done. So that's at new stage, except I've got some information there already, stuff. So I can go through, sorry, I've just got to grab one that's not been started. Alright, here's one. Okay, so I can assign to me. So if it turns out that instead of whoever was do it, I'm going to do it, I have a button to click on I can start, and I get a little timer running. I can pause that job if I want to, resume it at any stage that I want to. I can go through and I can look at the products and say, actually, I need some of those and some of those, and it will automatically add those products back onto that sale order to be able to invoice them as well. When I've finished, I can stop. I can do some description of my activity, save that. You can see there's a worksheet potentially that is related to this. There's nothing obviously set up at this stage. And then also against this, I can go through, do a report situation for the customer. So just click on here, and here's the report. This is just the bulk standard one. So with comments down here, I can click to sign it, draw my signature in, sign it, and that's all signed. And basically that report that's with that signature is now going to be attached back to that transaction here that we just created. So everything comes back into the one process. So there's a bit of configuration to be done around these worksheets and what you want on them, but the process flow is here. If I look on the timesheet, I can see who did the work and the duration. So all of that stuff is managed. If I have ad hoc jobs, so I can just do that either from the asset, but I can also just create a task. So this can be ad hoc too. And I can, who am I going to assign it to? When am I going to do it? So I'm going to do it from here to, it's going to take me to 11 o'clock. Apply that. I can add tags in. I don't have any tags set up. I can say what asset does it relate to. It relates to machine 3. What job type, so it's on demand. So again, these are just selection fields that you want. I can have this idea of zones. So if I'm in Auckland, I might want there. If you could have a zone if you're in a provincial area, that could be each of the towns or something like that. Teams and skills as well, which I haven't set up. And then what customer relates to it. And so this is just an ad hoc one. I can save that. And then that's going to be sitting in Bill Jones's queue, and he goes through exactly the same process. Start, adds the products on, completes it, worksheet, etc., etc. But then I can also, in the case of pipe work, I can go through and create and give it to a customer again. And again, I don't have to select an asset, so this could be pipe work for them, and I can just save that, and away I go. So it's very flexible in terms of how much information you want to put in versus how much you want to put out. If I just go through planning by user, and if I look at Bill, here's my ad hoc 2, and again I can add some products in here. He's going to use some of that. Alright, oops, right, back to the wrong place, and I can start in here and click on stop. Just defaults to 15 as the default, and all of the employees can have calendars which work out what they are able to do. I can mark as done, and now I can go away and create an invoice, and I create the invoice, and that must be it here, I'm guessing, and that's for my time, and that's for my this is the one here, my time and my equipment here. So all very flexible in terms of going from a field service activity, and you can put security on who can generate the invoice, so that can all be a managed process. So hopefully that's given you a good overview of Odoo, and look forward to any further questions.